Mini Brawl is an unconfirmed, admin-only experimental game mode where every player shrinks down to an extremely small size. This completely changes how the game feels. Movement becomes tighter, jump height feels exaggerated, hitbox interactions behave differently, and visibility shifts in ways that make even familiar maps feel brand new. It's not just a cosmetic change, it fundamentally alters gameplay. The mode has never appeared in public queues, and regular players have no way to activate it. There have been zero official announcements and no patch notes acknowledging its existence. The only evidence comes from community leaks. A Twitter user named 1x1's wife posted screenshots showing players at miniature scale. And a YouTuber named Takbor captured short gameplay clips when the mode was triggered mid-match, most likely through manual admin activation on a private or test server. Outside of those leaks, the developers have stayed completely silent. No confirmation, no denial. That leaves players wondering, is Mini Brawl being tested for a future release? Was it scrapped? Or is it just an internal dev tool? Right now, Mini Brawl exists as a hidden mystery, a mode that may never officially reach the public. Default is the core game mode of D off of Death and defines the standard experience. One player becomes the killer based on who has the highest evilness score, while up to 8 others spawn in as civilians. Civilians choose one of 3 randomly generated decks, each granting 2 random abilities. This creates massive variety, from healing builds to stun-heavy setups to high-mobility playstylls. Every time the killer eliminates a civilian, 30 seconds are added to the round timer. However, the total match time can never exceed 4 minutes. These extensions constantly shift the pacing, forcing civilians to adapt as the game transitions from early hiding to high-pressure late-game chases. When only one civilian remains, the timer automatically drops to around 1 minute and 15 seconds. This creates a final chase phase that often becomes the most intense moment of the match. Civilians win if the timer hits 0 while at least one survives. The killer wins if every civilian is eliminated first. Becoming the killer resets all current evilness, while civilians who survive gain 1 evilness point. Nearly every balanced decision in the game is built around how default functions. It's the foundation that everything else branches from. Double Trouble replaces the single killer with 2 killers. It has been in the game since launch, and for good reason, 2 killers dramatically increase the danger. To balance this, both killers deal half of their normal damage. Even bleed damage is halved, although rounding causes 0.5 values to become 1 when applied. Positioning becomes critical. Getting chased by one killer while accidentally running into the second is one of the fastest ways to die. When multiple civilians are alive, teamwork becomes essential. Players must split the killers using body blocks, stuns, taunts, and smart movement. If only one civilian remains, survival becomes even harder. The killers will likely spread out and attempt to corner them using traps and area control abilities. Healing becomes more valuable since reduced damage makes recovery more manageable. For killers, coordination is everything. Chase-focused killers pressure routes, area control killers block exits, and support killers enhance their partner's speed or damage. Double Trouble forces killers to operate as a team rather than as 2 solo players. Becoming killer in Double Trouble removes only half of a player's evilness, making it one of the slower modes for lowering the score. One bounce is Die of Death's Juggernaut mode. One civilian, specifically the player with the lowest evilness, is chosen to fight against every other player who all become killers. The selected civilian receives major buffs: glowing SSJ-style hair, 40 bonus HP per killer, a massive 250 stamina pool, and a passive speed boost. These bonuses allow them to survive longer, but being outnumbered means one mistake can instantly end the round. Some abilities that work in normal matches become weak here. Cloak is ineffective because killers group together. Bonus Pad locks the civilian in place too long. Caretaker provides no value without teammates. Hot Dog heals too little to justify standing still. The civilian must play smarter and more strategically than ever. For killers, coordination is key. Chase killers drain stamina, area control killers restrict movement. Support killers like Badware can stack buffs or push the civilian into dangerous positions. When multiple players use Howl together, the combined slowdown can make escape nearly impossible. Unlike most modes, becoming killer in one bounce does not remove any evilness. Evil Scary is a variation of default that introduces a global, unstoppable monster into the match. This entity, known as Evil Scary, constantly hunts the nearest player, teleporting toward them in short increments. If Evil Scary makes contact, it deals devastating damage, 100 damage per second to civilians, 60 to Harkin, and 200 to all other killers. It also triggers a jump scare effect that blinds the victim. At random intervals, it performs rapid jump sequences signaled by a distinct audio cue, warning players that danger is escalating. Every player can see Evil Scary through walls, so awareness becomes critical. The monster is immune to all abilities. It cannot be stunned, slowed, blocked, or affected in any way. This mode forces both civilians and the killer to juggle their normal roles while constantly avoiding a roaming death machine. Becoming killer in Evil Scary removes half of a player's evilness. Gunslinger modifies default by locking all civilians into the same two abilities, Revolver and Punch. In this mode, both abilities are significantly stronger. Revolver deals double damage to the killer. Punch applies the locked effect, disabling the killer's abilities for 1 second. Both abilities also apply increased knockback, creating space for repositioning. However, civilians lose access to healing and escape tools. They must manage reloads and cooldowns carefully. Missing a shot can mean instant death. The killer's health bar is displayed at the top of the screen and flashes when low, encouraging aggressive teamwork. Killers must bait shots, time engagements carefully, and retreat when needed. Low HP killers like Artful or Harkin are especially vulnerable and can be eliminated within seconds if multiple civilians coordinate their attacks. A rework for Gunslinger is planned, likely adjusting killer HP or civilian damage values for better balance. Dienation is a chaotic free-for-all where every player becomes a killer with 500 HP. There are no civilians, no stuns, and no alliances. The objective is simple: be the last killer standing. A massive ring of fire surrounds the map and gradually shrinks inward, forcing players into tighter spaces. The fire deals around 20 damage per second, making positioning critical. Because of constant combat and noise generation, Harkin becomes extremely strong here. Her rage meter fills quickly, granting boosted damage and frequent healing. Killjoy also performs well due to its ranged attacks and early aerial positioning. Artful struggles since traps take time to set up and become less effective as the ring closes. Badware players can deploy computers for speed boosts, but this can accidentally benefit enemies as well, making it a high-risk strategy. Dienation is pure chaos. No roles, no hiding, just survival.